Justin Lee did not look pleased. "So, nobody took my money?" he said, frowning up at us from the driver's seat of his Mazda 3 in the high school parking lot. The wind started up, icy and mean, making my brother Joe and me hug ourselves and look over longingly at our own car, parked a few rows away. It was that depressing part of spring, before it warms up, when it's just thinking about not being winter anymore. "Well, no human did," I corrected Justin with a little chuckle. "Is the wind a body? Does it have intention? I guess that's a question for the philosopher." "You're saying the wind blew that huge wad of cash off the table at the cafe and then into the river?" he said, clearly finding the situation not the least bit funny. "That is what the security footage from the car dealership seemed to reveal," Joe said, lifting up his smartphone for Justin to see. "Would you like to watch it again?" It had been really hard for us to get that footage, actually, but Justin clearly didn't care. He shook his head, taking on a 1,000-yard stare. I glanced at Joe nervously, and his expression confirmed that he, too, had noticed what I feared. Justin was going to a dark place. Since Justin was 6'4" and at least 200 pounds, this was troubling. "All my barista money," he muttered, his eyes narrowing as he stared past us. "Over 400. Do you know how many lattes I had to make? How many ladies I had to argue with about whether I'd put enough vanilla syrup in? That was my guitar money. Do you know how many girls I was going to get with that thing?" When Joe and I didn't respond quickly enough, Justin looked annoyed, like we weren't following. "The guitar," he said. "I can see you're disappointed," I replied, trying to take on the soothing tone my mom uses when she talks me down from a major blow. "But all things considered, isn't it better that no human took your money? The wind is a bummer, sure, but it's also a fluke. You don't have to feel all mopey about the vicissitudes of human nature or anything like that." Justin looked up at me then. From his scowl and the sharp angle of his eyebrows, it was clear he was irritated. "What?" he asked. "Never mind," Joe said. "Look, Justin, we're really sorry about your guitar money. Maybe next time don't carry so much cash around, and definitely don't leave it in an envelope on an outdoor cafe table on a windy day." Justin shook his head. "If it was a dude, I could punch him at least. You can't punch the wind." This is factually untrue, but I decided not to call him on it. He didn't seem to be in the right frame of mind. "I'm really sorry," I said. Justin sighed, then pulled his long legs into his Mazda. "Well, at least I didn't pay you anything." "Yeah," Joe said dryly. "At least that." Justin had closed the door and started up the car by then, so if he picked up on Joe's tone, he showed no sign of it. Joe and I both watched the spot where Justin's car had been for a few seconds. I don't think either of us really knew what to say. "That was an anticlimax," Joe finally commented. "Yeah," I muttered. "Good thing he didn't pay us." Joe let out a hard snort. I can't blame him, though. There's nothing satisfying about knowing your guitar money's at the bottom of a muddy river and there's nobody to blame but yourself. I nodded and started walking to our car. Joe followed. "We've had a lot of cases like that lately, though," I complained. "The wind took your money? You slipped the note into the wrong locker? Oh, she thought that was her guinea pig." Joe sighed. "So true," he muttered. "We haven't solved a real case since Lookout Key." After I unlocked the car, we automatically fell into our usual spots, me driving, Joe riding shotgun. I turned the key, and the radio and the heat both sputtered on. The radio was playing the same inescapable Katy Perry song I swear it had been playing when we'd turned the car off that morning. It's like everything's on repeat around here. We need some excitement.